Hey guys, back at it again, do another weekend project. Today I'm going to show you something simple, easy, and fixable. We're going to change the transmission filter, and we're going to add some transmission fluid on this 2006 Chevy Cobalt. Easy job, just be patient, and I'm going to show you step by step what we need to do. The first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you drive your vehicle to operation temperature. I drove this Cobalt, I want to say about 32 miles, came back. So right now that transmission fluid is nice and hot, so just be careful and cautious once you start taking things apart, okay? So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to actually put this Cobalt in some car ramps, so that way the job could be much easier for me, okay? So let's go and get started, guys, and like always, enjoy the video. Okay guys, once you put your vehicle on car ramps, if you do decide to go this route, make sure you chock your back tires. Get those in there nice and tight, and also don't forget to put your emergency handle up in on position, okay? So let's get this tutorial going. Okay guys, just a couple things you're gonna need. You're gonna need a large catch pan. You're gonna need a funnel this size, and the reason why is because we're gonna have to go ahead and fill the transmission fluid from the top of the vehicle, okay? Just want to give you guys a heads up. Okay guys, just to kind of show you a little bit of a glimpse what we're gonna do. This is the transmission oil pan. This here right there is basically held in by 12 8mm bolts. They go across the whole pan. So what we're gonna do, remember that catch pan I told you about? This is the reason why you need a nice decent sized catch pan to catch all that fluid. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start removing the bolts, but since the vehicle is on car ramps and it's kind of like tilted, I'm going to start taking out the 8mm bolts from the bottom. I'm going to take the first 4 out, and I'm just going to start, I'm going to actually remove those 4 back bolts, and these ones I'm just going to go ahead and loosen them up a little bit. And you'll see why, because the oil is going to go ahead and start to fall down in this catch pan. Now, as you can see, this car has been leaking quite, and I think this is the first time the owner is actually doing this transmission service. So we're going to go ahead and try to clean as much as we can before we install the new gasket on top of the oil pan, transmission pan. So let's go and get started, okay guys? Okay guys, so seeing that this transmission pan is very gunky with fluid, I guess it's old fluid, I'm just gonna go ahead and, before I remove it, I'm gonna do an extra step. I'm just gonna go ahead and clean the surface of it. The reason for that being is because when I actually start removing the bolts, I don't want any of that contaminating old gunky stuff getting contaminated with the actual job. So just take the time to just clean the top part. I think that's the most important part, so that way you have a nice clean mating surface. See that? compare that to how it was before, so that way the job could have a nice proper seal once we install everything back. So let me go ahead and take care of this real quick. See that? This here. This is what you want to make sure you clean really good. So let me go ahead and do this real quick, and then we'll be back for the next step, okay? Okay guys, so now that I've managed to clean and get a nice clean surface area around the transmission pan, we're gonna go and start removing it. Okay, just keep in mind the transmission fluid is pretty hot, since I did drive the vehicle a couple miles, and right now it is at operating temperature. Just keep in mind, be careful, wear some gloves so that way you don't burn yourself. Alright, so let's go ahead and start removing that oil pan. Let me see if I can get you a good angle here. Bear with me 1 second. Okay, here we go. So again, we're gonna start with the bottom, and these are 8mm bolts that we're gonna go ahead and remove first. As you guys can probably see, the transmission fluid is already dripping. Just let it drip. Let me get you a better angle there. Just let it drip, guys. Try not to burn yourself. I'm just going to loosen the back ones for now. And that's why you really need a big cash pan. You can find this cash pan at Harbor Freight. I think I paid like I think it was like $9 a couple years ago, and man, it's amazing how it works. And again, I'm just loosening the back bolts. I'm not completely removing it, so that way just let it come out. Be patient. I think this is the most patient part that I could probably try to explain. As you can see, it's a If I get you a close up, it's just dripping away. And once I see that the oil is kind of slowing down, I'm going to start removing the bolts slowly. And I'm gonna let these two, I'm gonna loosen these last two right here. Just loosen them again, just so that way the fluid continue to pour. As you can see over there, I think that's the last of the transmission fluid. And again, just let it come out. Alright. And now I'm just gonna take the last two that I left loosened. So let me go ahead and take that out real quick. And once I take these last ones, the oil pan should come out like so. Alright. And the gasket as well. Just let this drip. Alright guys, so that's how you basically take out the oil pan and kind of give you a nice view of this. This is the actual filter. Basically it's not even held by anything, it's just pushed in. So what we're gonna do, let me see if I can get you a better angle so I can show you how to remove it. Okay, so for the transmission filter, guys, all you really have to do is just pull it down. There's no bolts holding it in place, so this is all you do. Just wiggle it. I don't know if you can see here, there's the little neck. Gonna just pry that out and just move your catch pan a little bit towards here, like so. That way when I remove this part, transmission fluid is still going to come down. Okay, so let's go to remove that. Just wiggle it and be careful, it's still hot. There you go. Alright, I'm just going to set the filter here. And I don't know if you can see, there's also a seal in here that we're gonna have to remove, and let me show you how to remove that. Okay guys, so to remove the seal here, all you need is just a nice flathead screwdriver, and what you want to do, you just want to go ahead and pry it off from the inside slowly. Try not to damage it, but as you can see, I started prying this part off like so. So I get you better close up. Here. Just slowly, take your time. There you go. Slowly but surely it's gonna pop up. See that close up? Once you got it pried out, it should come loose like so. Okay, so again, don't worry about destroying it. Just pry the plastic off, like, you know, a little bit side to side, and once you get a little gap opening, that's when you stick your screwdriver and just pry the other part. So let's go ahead and clean that part right there. Make sure there's no leftover small pieces or cracks. Once you get it nice and clean, we should be good to go, because we're gonna stick a vanilla seal inside. And since you're down here, just wipe away any excessive oil that you see, or any type of gasket seal. The kit that I bought does come with the rubber gasket, so we don't have to worry about putting a rubber gasket, a RTV gasket on. We're just gonna slam it in there and torque it appropriately. Okay, so now that it's nice and clean, let's go ahead and install the new transmission filter. Okay guys, so now that we have the actual transmission filter, we want to make sure that we compare it with the new one. And again, this was the seal that goes on top here. I got this transmission kit from O'Reilly's. Here's the part number in case you're interested. And whenever you're changing or swapping parts out, just make sure you compare them, make sure everything's the same. As you can see, both filters are the same, and the seal, it's here. Okay, and then if you turn it over, also make sure they're the same. Okay, so now that we are sure that this is gonna fit, let me go ahead and tell you something about the oil transmission filter pan here. Never reuse the actual gasket. I wanted to kind of mention something. Also, you see this little this is kind of like a magnet. If you see big chunks of debris, that means your transmission is actually going out. But if it's just like small particles, you don't really have to worry. As you can see, there's not much of a, I don't see any chunks in here. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and clean this out. Let me put it in my parts washer real quick. Here you go. And we're gonna clean this really good. Really, really good. I'm actually using some degreaser so we'll get this nice and clean. Especially here on the surface. Take this extra time, guys, just to do a good job thoroughly. The surface areas they're the number one reason why you get leaks. Alright, so let me go ahead and finish cleaning this bad boy up, and then we'll go ahead and install the new filter, the seal, and then we'll install this bad boy, okay? Alright guys, as you can see, we got our new transmission pan nicely cleaned. Looks brand new out of the factory. And again, just take the time to do this. I know a lot of mechanics, they just want to do a quick job, but I'm telling you, if you do it right the first time, customers not going to come back and complain that there's a leakage, especially around these areas right here. You want to get these nice and cleaned out. See that? Alright. And again, I did use a nylon brush. I didn't use a wire brush, just a nylon, strong enough to take that grease out of here. Okay, let's continue. Okay guys, so the next step, we're gonna go ahead and install the new seal on the actual transmission. And all I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use a little bit of oil from the transmission, and then I'm gonna make sure that everything's nice and cleaned inside. Wipe any last stuff that might be in there. Alright, and I'm gonna slide it in here like so. Okay, just kind of like strain it a little bit. Let me see. And then I'm gonna use a 25mm socket and a mallet, and I'm gonna gently tap this in there like so, slowly. Don't go Donkey Kong on it. And the reason why I'm using a 25mm socket, because it fits right on the outer lip of the seal. So I'm going to continue. Take your time, guys. Once you see that it's seated, you want to stop. But let me do a couple more turns. A couple more just to make sure everything's in place. Alright, let me get you better close up. Alright, you see how it's nicely seated? That's what you want to have. Alright, so let's go and install the filter. Alright guys, so the filter is going to be just in reverse order like we took it off. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a little bit of transmission oil around the neck, and then I'm just going to push it up like so. Just be careful, take your time. Take your time doing this, and you should hear it snap in place. Alright, and there you go. That's how easy to install this transmission filter. Alright, let's go ahead and install the oil pan. Okay guys, just to give you another recap, make sure that your transmission filter is nice and seated. I don't know if you can see that, but see how it's nice and it doesn't move at all. It should not move at all. So make sure that once you install that, you apply enough pressure to push it in, and see how it's nice and in there. And again, it's not moving from the back. You cannot move it because now it's already in there. See, I'm trying to move this back part, it doesn't move. Just make sure you take your time and push this all the way inside. I know you're gonna struggle a little bit, but just you're gonna hear a big click, and it's gonna click inside there. Okay. All right. Let's go and continue, guys. All right, guys. So next step, make sure you clean these little guys really nice and clean, because sometimes they have little sand, rocky stuck in those threads there, so you don't want to put these back in there all dirty. So just go ahead and wipe them down really good, clean them really good, each one. There's only 12 of them, so it shouldn't take you long. So make sure you clean these out really good, okay? Alright guys, so the next step, we're gonna go ahead and install the new gasket, the rubber gasket that came with my transmission filter kit. What I like to do, I just want to make sure that everything aligns correctly, like so. See that? And once I confirm that everything's in place, I'm not gonna so that way I don't have any surprises when I'm working underneath the vehicle. And now that I have my nice shiny clean 8mm bolts, what I'm gonna do, I'm actually gonna just insert them kind of so that way they can catch the actual rubber gasket. I'm just gonna do a couple of them on each side, like so. So that way I can start those by hand. Here's another one. So that way when I'm at the bottom, I'm gonna start these 3 by hand, and then I'm gonna continue. That's gonna kind of hold in the gasket in place a little bit, so that way it doesn't move. And then once I'm at the bottom, I'm gonna go ahead and throw them in by hand, and then I'm gonna start installing these. So let's go and continue, guys. Put this down there. And let's get this bad boy installed. Okay. Alright guys, let me get you a better angle. Alright guys, we're gonna go ahead and install the oil pan transmission. And again, I'm just gonna start the threads by hand. I'm not gonna put them all the way inside. And now I'm just gonna continue, and at the same time I'm making sure that the bolt gets the gasket. Basically, this is what I'm doing. Every single time I installed a bolt, like here, I'm making sure that it's grabbing on the gasket, so that way I know that when I torque it down, it's gonna go ahead and seat that gasket correctly. Okay, so just want to give you a close-up of what I'm doing. I'm gonna do this all around, so just bear with me. Let me go ahead and get this done, and then we'll go ahead and continue torquing it, okay? Alright guys, so I hand tightened each 12 8mm bolts all around. So now I'm going to start torquing them. The torque specs based on Chevy is 7 foot-pounds. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Let me show you. We got 7 foot-pounds right there. So I'm gonna start torquing them, and I'm gonna do a crisscross pattern when I do torque these guys. So I'm gonna start from this side. Let me go ahead. There you go. Go. So again, just do these in a crisscross pattern. Start from the bottom, make your way up, and then go back down, up, other one up. Just do that on everything. And again, it's 7 foot-pounds. Okay, guys. Okay guys, so now that we have the oil pan installed, the last step basically, we're going to go ahead and fill the transmission with Dexron-VI. I repeat guys, Dexron-VI. Do not try to go cheap and get the multi-ATF compatible. According to Chevrolet, For this particular vehicle, Chevy Cobalt, it needs Dexron-VI. And you're going to need, according to specs, it says that whenever you change the transmission filter pan, it's a 6.9 quart, but I got 7, so I'm gonna pour 7 quarts into the transmission. And again, do not go cheap, get the Dexron-VI, specifically for GM vehicles. For these 7 quarts, it was about maybe $57. But again, make sure you use specifically whatever your vehicle requires, okay? So the way we're gonna fill this transmission, we're actually gonna go open up the hood, and we're gonna have to take out this plastic cover off. It's just push it up, remove it, set it aside. Let me put this back in here. Okay. And the actual transmission fill plug, let me see if I could get you some lighting. It's going to be, let's see if I get you a close up. Do you see that little cap right there? Right there where my flashlight is lighting, that's going to be the fill transmission. So we're going to go remove that, and that's the reason why I recommended you to buy yourself a nice funnel like this, so that way it could extend all the way down. So let me go ahead and get that fill cap. Let's see if I can get you another fill cap right there. Okay, that's the one we're gonna remove. So let me go remove it real quick. Bear with me. Okay guys, so before you actually remove it, I recommend you grab a nice rag and clean. As you can see, it's pretty dusty, so just clean around it. Let me see if I can show you, hopefully. Okay, I'm basically just cleaning it, guys. Nothing to it. Alright, there we go, guys. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go and remove that cap. Let me do that very quick. Okay guys, so I went and go ahead and twist it off, so now I'm gonna remove it. This is the cap right there. As you can see, it has that little drain hole, and this is where I have my big funnel. I'm gonna go ahead and try to see if I can slide it in. Bear with me. Let's see if I can get you a good close up. Alright, it's in there. Perfect. So now I'm gonna go ahead and start pouring the transmission fluid. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. Alright guys, so the last step, I'm gonna go ahead and fill the transmission. Now don't start the car up yet. Wait until you put at least 6 quarts, and then on the 7th one, I recommend you turn it on and we'll go from there. So let me go ahead and start. At the same time that I'm putting the transmission fluid, I'm also checking at the bottom just to make sure that it's not leaking any type of fluid where the funnel is. I don't know if you can see that, but it's not, so we're good to go. I just don't want to waste any fluid, especially if it costs this much. So I'm going to continue filling that bad boy up real quick. But you kind of get the idea. So let me go ahead and finish filling this up, and we'll come back, guys. Alright guys, so I finished pouring the 7th Dexron-VI transmission fluid quart in there. So I know that there's 7 quarts in there. I'm going to go ahead and start up the vehicle here. At the same time, I'm going to press the brakes. While applying the brakes, I'm going to go ahead and shift through each gear about 3 seconds. Just so that way I can allow that fluid to run inside the transmission. Going back here. Alright. I'm going to let the vehicle just idle. That's what you need to do. Alright guys, lastly, don't forget to clean your transmission fill cap back, and don't forget to take this off like so, and we're going to put this back, and then we're going to put that cover that we had here. Okay. Alright guys, thank you for watching. God bless.